He left on a Tuesday. No fight, no warning. Just a note on the kitchen counter, next to the half-empty bottle of formula. I can't do this. I'm sorry. That was it. 4 words. I stared at it for maybe an hour. The baby was crying. My chest was tight. I couldn't move. I think part of me died right there, in that moment. But I didn't have time to grieve. I had a baby to feed. My name's Lena. I'm 27. I live in a small town in Pennsylvania, the kind of place where everyone knows your business, but no one really knows you. Before all this, I worked part-time at a bakery. I loved it. The smell of cinnamon rolls in the morning, the quiet hum of ovens, the way people smiled when you handed them something warm. I used to be someone. Now I'm just the girl whose boyfriend ran off, or worse, the single mom. We weren't married. I met Jason when I was 24. He was charming, funny, a little reckless. He had this way of making you feel like the only person in the room. I fell hard. Too hard. We moved in together after 6 months. I got pregnant a year later. He cried when I told him. Said he was scared but excited. We painted the nursery together. He picked out the name, Eli. He held my hand through labor. He kissed Eli's forehead before we left the hospital. And then, 3 months later, he was gone. I remember the night before he left. He was quiet, didn't touch his dinner, kept checking his phone. I asked if something was wrong. He said he was tired. I didn't push. I should have pushed. The next morning, I woke up to silence. No footsteps, no coffee brewing, just Eli crying in his crib. I walked into the kitchen and saw the note. I thought maybe he'd gone out for milk. I called his phone, straight to voicemail. I called again and again and again. Nothing. I checked his closet. Half his clothes were gone. His toothbrush, his cologne, the drawer where he kept his passport, empty. He was gone. Really gone. I didn't cry at first. I just stood there, holding Eli, rocking him back and forth, while my brain tried to catch up. I kept thinking, maybe he had a breakdown. Maybe he'd come back. Maybe this was temporary. But deep down, I knew he wasn't coming back. I called his mom. She sounded surprised, said she hadn't heard from him in weeks. I didn't believe her. I still don't. She offered to send diapers. I hung up. I didn't tell anyone for a few days. I just kept going, feeding Eli, changing him, sleeping in short bursts. I didn't eat. I didn't shower. I just existed, like a ghost. Then the bills started piling up. Rent, utilities, groceries. I had $312 in my account. No job, no backup, no one to call. I remember sitting on the floor of the nursery, Eli asleep in my lap, and thinking, this is it. This is how people break. This is how they disappear. But I couldn't disappear because Eli needed me. And that was the beginning, not the end. I started applying for jobs the next day. Anything. Cashier, waitress, night shift at the gas station. I didn't care. I just needed money. I needed diapers, formula, rent.
I got hired at a 24-hour diner. Graveyard shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Minimum wage, no benefits. But they didn't ask questions, didn't care that I looked half dead, didn't care that I had no experience. They just handed me an apron and said, "Try not to cry in front of customers." I found a neighbor, Mrs. Klein, who agreed to watch Eli while I worked. She was retired, lived alone, said she liked babies. I didn't have a choice. I gave her $50 a week. It was all I could afford. The first night I left Eli with her, I cried the whole drive to work. I felt like I was abandoning him, like I was becoming Jason. But I wasn't. I was surviving. There's a difference. The diner was hell. Drunks, truckers, people who stared at my chest more than the menu. I learned to smile through it, to nod, to say, "Sure, I'll get that right out for you," even when my feet were bleeding, even when my breasts were leaking because I hadn't pumped in hours. I'd get home at 6:30, pick up Eli, feed him, rock him to sleep, sleep for maybe 2 hours, then start again. I lost 15 pounds in a month. My hair started falling out. I stopped recognizing myself in the mirror. But Eli was growing, laughing, gripping my finger with his tiny hand, and that kept me going. Sometimes I think about Jason, where he was, what he was doing, if he ever thought about us. I'd imagine him in some warm place, drinking beer, telling people he didn't have kids. And I'd feel this rage, this burning, choking rage. But I couldn't afford to be angry. Anger doesn't pay rent. One night, around 3 a.m., a man came into the diner. He looked normal, clean, sad. He sat at the counter and ordered coffee. Then he said, "You look tired." I didn't respond. I just poured his coffee. He said, "You got kids?" I nodded. He said, "I left mine years ago." I froze. He kept talking.
I was scared. Didn't think I could do it. Didn't think I was enough. So I ran. And I regret it every day.
I didn't say anything. I just stood there, gripping the coffee pot. He looked at me and said,
Don't let him break you. You're still here. That means something.
Then he left. Didn't pay, didn't look back. I stood there for a long time, just breathing, just feeling. That was the first time I realized Jason didn't leave because of me. He left because of himself, his fear, his weakness. And I wasn't weak. I was still standing, still fighting, still loving Eli with everything I had. But love doesn't fix everything. And the worst was still coming. 3 months after Jason left, I got a letter. No return address. Just my name scribbled in his handwriting. I stared at it for hours before opening it. My hands were shaking. My stomach felt like it was full of broken glass. Inside was a check, $500, and a note. "I'm sorry. I hope this helps." That was it. No explanation. No apology that meant anything. Just money. Like that could undo everything. I didn't cash it. I couldn't. It felt dirty. Like accepting it meant forgiving him. And I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't sure I ever would be. I kept the check in a drawer. Sometimes I'd take it out and stare at it. Sometimes I'd cry. Sometimes I'd scream. But I never spent it. Mrs. Klein got sick.
She called me one morning and said she couldn't watch Eli anymore. I panicked. I had work that night. No one else to call. No family. No friends who weren't already drowning in their own lives. I brought Eli to work, wrapped him in a blanket, put him in a stroller behind the counter. My manager flipped.
You can't bring a baby here. It's a health code violation.
I begged. I cried. I said I'd keep him quiet. He said no. Said I had to choose, the job or the baby. I chose Eli. Of course I did. But I walked out of that diner with nothing. No paycheck, no backup plan, just a baby and a broken heart. I started selling things. My laptop, my jewelry, even the rocking chair Jason bought for the nursery. I sold it to a woman who said she was expecting twins. She smiled. I didn't. I applied for assistance, food stamps, WIC, anything. The forms were endless, the questions invasive. How did the father leave? Do you have proof of abandonment? Have you considered adoption?
I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab the woman behind the desk and shake her. But I just nodded, signed the papers, waited. The food stamps came through. So did WIC. I got formula, cereal, peanut butter. It wasn't much, but it kept us alive. I found a new job, cleaning offices at night, alone, quiet. No customers, no manager breathing down my neck. Just me and a mop, and Eli sleeping in a carrier strapped to my chest. I'd whisper to him while I cleaned, tell him stories, sing lullabies. Sometimes I'd cry, but he'd smile in his sleep, and that was enough. One night, I found a photo of Jason in a drawer at home. Us at the beach. He was holding Eli, smiling. I stared at it for a long time. Then I ripped it in half. Then into quarters. Then into pieces so small they looked like dust. I flushed them down the toilet, watched them swirl and disappear. And I felt nothing. Not relief, not closure, just emptiness. But emptiness is better than pain. It's quieter, easier to carry. And I had to carry a lot. Eli turned 1. I baked a tiny cake, sang happy birthday. He smashed it with his hands and laughed. I laughed too, for the first time in months. I took a picture, just him. No Jason, no shadows, just light, just love. And I thought, maybe this is enough. Maybe this is what strength looks like. Not loud, not dramatic, just showing up. Every day, even when it hurts. It was a rainy Thursday when I saw him again. Jason, at the grocery store. I was holding Eli, grabbing diapers off the shelf, and there he was, standing by the frozen pizzas, looking normal, like he hadn't shattered my life. He saw me, froze, then walked over. I felt my knees go weak. My heart was pounding. Eli clung to me, sensing something.
Lena, I didn't expect. I didn't know you were still here.
Still here? Like I was supposed to vanish? Like I was a phase? I didn't answer. I just stared.
He's gotten big. He looks like you.
I wanted to scream, to hit him, to ask him how he could just leave. But I couldn't. Not in front of Eli. Not in the diaper aisle. So I said the only thing I could. You don't get to talk to us. You don't get to act like this is normal.
I'm sorry. I was scared. I didn't know how to be a dad.
You didn't even try. You left a note. A goddamn note.
I know I messed up. I've been thinking about you. About him. I want to help.
Help? Now? After a year of silence? After I begged for answers and got nothing?
I laughed.
Loud, sharp, ugly. You don't get to help. You don't get to walk back in like you didn't destroy everything.
I'm not asking for forgiveness. I want to be part of his life.
I looked at Eli, his tiny face, his wide eyes. He didn't know this man, this stranger. And I wasn't going to let him get hurt.
You lost that right. You gave it up. You don't get to come back.
Please, just think about it. I'll give you space, but I want to try.
I walked away. Didn't look back. Eli started crying. I held him tighter. Whispered, "It's okay. I've got you."
I got home and collapsed on the floor, shaking, sobbing. All the strength I'd built cracked open. I felt raw, exposed, like the wound had never healed. I called Mrs. Klein, told her what happened. She listened, then said,
"You're stronger than you think. He left. You stayed. That's what matters." I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying his face, his voice, his words. And I hated that part of me wanted to believe him, wanted to hope. But hope is dangerous. Hope is what broke me the first time, and I wasn't going to let it happen again. I wrote him a letter. Didn't send it, just wrote it, poured everything into it. You left me when I needed you most. You left your son. You don't get to fix that with words. You don't get to fix that at all. We're not waiting for you anymore. I folded it, put it in the same drawer as the check. Then I locked it, and I felt something shift. Not closure, not peace, but power. My power. The kind you earn, the kind you bleed for.
Spring came late that year. The snow lingered, but the sun started showing up again, like it remembered us, like it forgave us. Eli turned 2. We had cake, chocolate smeared across his cheeks. He laughed, a real laugh, the kind that fills a room, fills a heart. Mrs. Klein brought balloons, blue and yellow. She kissed his forehead and said, "He's got your spirit. Don't ever forget that." I didn't. I wouldn't. I got a job at the community center, helping other young moms, telling them it's okay to break. It's okay to rebuild. It's okay to not be okay. I met someone, not like Jason, gentler, patient. He didn't try to fix me. He just sat with me in the quiet, held Eli like he mattered, like he wasn't a burden, like he was a gift. I told him everything, eventually, and he didn't flinch, didn't run. He said, "You're not broken. You're just real." And I believed him. Not all at once, but slowly, like thawing ice. Jason sent letters, 3 of them. I read them, then burned them. Not out of hate, but because I didn't need them anymore. I didn't need his guilt, his regret, his apologies.
I had already built something stronger, something he couldn't touch. Eli started saying full sentences. He called me Mama with pride. He danced in the kitchen. He sang off-key. He made me laugh again. And one night, after he fell asleep, I stood by the window, looked out at the quiet street, and I whispered, "We made it. We're okay. Not perfect, not healed, but okay." And that was enough, because survival isn't just breathing. It's choosing joy, choosing love, choosing yourself. And I chose us every single day.